Okay, so there are a lot of opinions about the 3D era of Mortal Kombat. I mentioned before how much of a shot in the arm Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance was, and while that game was fun, it still had its share of flaws that left MK fans wanting more. And then we got Mortal Kombat Deception. The rest, as they say, is history. Mortal Kombat Deception was released in 2004. It is another in a slew of MK games that have a release nearing a Tekken game for whatever reason. Purely a coincidence, I'm sure. MK Deception took most of the issues with Deadly Alliance and improved upon them, plus more. From the very moment the game begins, we are greeted with one of the greatest MK openings of all time. I actually think the only game to rival this may be Mortal Kombat Armageddon, but we'll get to that another time. We get the brief victory of the Deadly Alliance over Raiden, followed by the end of their partnership fairly quickly.
Even for a thunder god. Raiden was defeated.
And then the arrival of him, the debut of the Dragon King. The Dragon King Onaga serves as the main villain of the story and the game's final boss. And for the record, a cheap final boss at that, but I'll get to that later. Also, I'd like to remind you all that now would be a good time to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. But moving on, this roster includes from Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Kenshi, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, Li Mei, Borai Cho, and on the PSP version, Blaze, Jax, Katana, and Frost. Then making their returns from previous games, Jade, Mileena, Baraka, Sindel, Cabal, Ermac, who looked sick, Noob and Smoke as a shared character who also looked sick, Tanya, and Nightwolf. And then we got new characters Hotaru, Ashura, Daru, Kira, Cobra, along with Darius. And the new main character, Shujinko, and I'm saying this now, Cobra was the GOAT. And then we also got Shao Kahn and Goro on the PSP versions as well. People dog this roster, but it's actually kind of insane. These character designs are somewhat wild too. This is personally some of my favorite Sub-Zero, Raiden, Ermac, and Mileena designs of all time. Though admittedly, Mileena had a wild alternative design in this game. It may have been the cause for all the complaining about the skins of the females in Mortal Kombat, which is why they're so covered nowadays. From one extreme to the next, I guess. And Sub-Zero also may have had the worst alternate costume ever seen in this game, but most of the others look very, very well. Sadly, we'll never see the majority of these new characters ever again, and that's the main reason why this roster is pretty bashed, which is crazy. Most of them don't have staying power. Of the 8 new characters, Hotaru and Daru are the weakest. Kira plays like an insane Kano and Sonya hybrid and is very underrated in my opinion. Darius, Havoc, and Ashura also play pretty cool, but Shujinko and Cobra are insane to play with. Seriously, Cobra is a meme, but he is absolutely broken in Deception. But this game honestly is a few characters away from having a perfect roster. The only ninja missing in the entire game is Reptile, kind of because he's the Dragon King now. Rain, because, well, it's just fun for Mortal Kombat to forget about Rain sometimes for whatever reason. And Sonya is the only female missing if you're looking at the PSP version, otherwise you can add Katana. 4 characters off from a classic roster, in my opinion, is not that bad. The gameplay is also much improved with one minor issue. I complained about how Down 2 felt so awkward with certain characters in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance in a previous video. Not anymore. It universally performs an uppercut now, and Back 4 performs a sweep. Small Mortal Kombat details that actually mean a lot. Sweeps and uppercuts need to feel like sweeps and uppercuts. The fighting style system is back. For certain characters like Sub-Zero and Kenshi, their movesets are pretty similar if not improved from Deadly Alliance. Other characters like Scorpion seem to have needless changes to theirs, which was one minor complaint that I remember back in the day. The changing of certain fighting styles sort of made certain people angry, and I get it. Why change the fighting styles for no reason when you don't have to? Li Mei is a far worse character now than she was in Deadly Alliance because of this. And the Impale system is gone, thank God. Also, we're back to each character having 2 fatalities, along with a new feature called Harakiri to prevent your opponent from the satisfaction of performing a fatal before you do. The 2 main issues I have with this game, for one, kinda is the spacing. Certain stages seemed way too closed in comparison to others for whatever reason, but this is just one of those things that's down to personal preference. The other are the stage fatalities, or death traps as they're called in the game. I will say each of them look awesome, but it's absurd that you can perform any of them at any time in any round. Luckily, the developers thought of that and gave us players the option to turn that mess off. Obviously, playing the arcade game lets you beat a Tower of Fighters before you reach him, the Dragon King. Boy, is he cheap. Not MK2 Shao Kahn levels of cheap, but he's still pretty bad. He has projectiles and quick swipes that cost a lot of damage. A saving grace is that if you destroy the Kamidogu in the area, you can temporarily weaken him for more damage. Just don't get too close to the edge because he will also throw you into the spikes. The Kamidogu reminds me of something, by the way. Conquest mode returns for Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, only now it's less of a training mode and more of a full-on story mode. You play through the journey of Shujinko, who I mentioned earlier, only he's a young boy in the mode. He dreams of protecting Earthrealm in Mortal Kombat. He is met with the projection of the Elder Gods, who make him their champion. It also gives him the power to mimic the fighting abilities of any fighter he meets, making him extremely powerful. It also explains why he has Scorpion's spear move over time. The task you're given is to go through each of the realms and find the Kamidogus from each one to free the Elder God that is imprisoned in his projection. As time passes, you get older and you eventually find all of the Kamidogu and it frees the Elder God from his false imprisonment. Only, it's not an Elder God, it's Onaga, the Dragon King. This mode leads directly to the game's intro and also makes Shujinko's ending canon, at least to a point. This mode and its many Easter eggs are extremely fun. Fans have been asking for this mode back for almost a decade at the time of this video, and I agree, by the way. Never before had we been able to explore the world of Mortal Kombat so freely, and there are so many characters and moments from the past that you revisit along the way.
Damashi, what has he done to you? Let him go!
Shujinko, please save me. Oh, fool, Damashi does not exist.
However, unlike most modern fighting games that give you the core fighting modes and then just call it a day after that, this game has some weird yet fun extras. Anyone who thinks that World Tour mode in Street Fighter 6 is groundbreaking is nothing compared to what was given in Mortal Kombat Deception. Along with Conquest mode, we were also given Puzzle Combat and Chess Combat. Puzzle Combat is essentially Tetris with fatalities and MK characters. Maybe comparing it to Puzzle Fighter would be a little more apt. For a time waster in the game that you don't really need to think too hard about, at least not until you get to the higher levels, it's fun enough for what it is. It's not earth-shattering, and most people probably would never touch Puzzle Fighter at all, but it doesn't take away from the game. Then there's Chess Combat, probably one of the most underrated features in Mortal Kombat history. I did a video on this before, so feel free to check this out, but the game is highly underrated and addictive. You basically choose your MK characters as chess pieces and you fight it out until your king or leader has been captured. And by fight it out, I mean you literally fight as a piece to fight the other piece to be able to take the square. So you're still playing Mortal Kombat and having fights, just in the form of a chess game. It's way more fun than it sounds and more fun than it has any right to be. Also, as usual, winning in any of these modes gives you coins, which allows you to unlock items in the crypt, once again returning from Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. The Crypt is also a really fantastic addition in all of these Mortal Kombat games, and I love them, minus the jump scares that we would get later. I honestly thought about putting one up here, but I'm not gonna do that. I love y'all. Mortal Kombat Deception was wild fun. It took all of what Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance gave us and improved upon almost each and every feature. In most people's eyes, this game was the peak of the 3D era. I personally think the gameplay has not aged the most graceful in comparison to other fighters, but the sheer amount of content present in the game makes the gameplay more than enough and satisfactory for this entry. But how did you all feel about MK Deception, and is there anything from this game that you wish would make a comeback? In any event, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and you all have a good one, and I'm out.